And welcome back to another episode of Underdog Podcast. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend. You did some good things with friends and family, and enjoy the time that you have with each other always and forever, and blah, blah, blah. Yep, there goes my positive message for the show. I'm good now. My weekend was decent. I messed up. I really thought the Israel Adesanya fight was last weekend, but I guess it's this weekend. Man, February did seem like it's the shortest month, but I'm not gonna lie, that shit felt like it was dragging out. And I'm not in a rush to really go anywhere or anything, but at the same time, I was like, hey, is time going by super slow? Which is crazy because I constantly mention the Tori Says show. I listen to it every now and then. And she was talking about time slowing down. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, nah, no, it's not. And then next thing you know, I'm like, man, this month is dragging its ass on. So yeah, my weekend was pretty decent. My son played his I don't know if they want to call it a championship game. That's what they were calling it, but I didn't even know. It didn't feel like they was playing against the second team, but they won. They won every game this season, so kudos to them. They did a great job, and it'll be a couple weeks off, and then right back at it again towards the end of the month. As my daughter gets into the swing of things, and she's trying to play volleyball and stuff like that. So busy schedule with the kids. This will probably be my only week where I just don't have to worry about taking them or any one of them to practice or games. But then by the end of this month, it will be practices and games for both of them and busy. But my weekend was pretty decent. Yeah, enjoyed it. Tried this new game called Outriders. That was okay. It's actually pretty decent. It's like a combination of Gears of War with the Destiny and kind of Division aspects of the games all rolled into one. And it seems like it has potential. The demos was a quick playthrough, so it wasn't that much content, but it has potential. So I might keep my eye on that. It might be something me and my son enjoyed it, and we played it together and stuff too. So it might be something that I might just get just so it's something that we play together because he plays more Call of Duty, and I stopped playing Call of Duty and other different games and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. So Sunday, actually, I had to go pick up my dog from her friend's house, so I didn't catch the first part of Trump's speech at CPAC. I caught a little bit of it. I probably caught like the last hour of it, so I probably missed like the first 30 minutes, something like that. And I'll talk more about that towards halfway of the show, or and definitely the end of the show. I want to spend probably majority of the time on that. But there was an article. We'll go ahead and jump right into it. There was an article that I saw over the weekend that just another one of those things, man. Another one of those things. So you have an article here from Reuters. It says Elizabeth Ann, and I was a few days old on this because this article actually came out on the 19th of February. So I missed this somehow. But it says Elizabeth Ann, the first cloned ferret, spurs hope for endangered U.S. species. So first and foremost, understand that this is a cloned animal. And if you're old enough like I am to remember, the first so-called cloned animal that we heard of was Dollar the sheep back in 95. And we'll kind of talk about that, how there is actually things go further back before then. So we mentioned it before on this show that anytime we hear about this technology, it's already like years old, if not decades old. Because by the time we get to hear about us regular people, it's already too late. It's already too bad. It's already too much stuff going on and whatnot. No, I forgot something. I forgot to set up my headphones. Felt like I was already prepared for the show. Psych. I was being lazy this morning. But it makes me wonder how long has cloning been going on? Because I never really looked too much into it because I'm not gonna lie to you, it freaks me out. And you hear things about rappers being cloned, and even Tom McDonald literally made a song called "Clone Rappers." He talked about Gucci Mane, a rapper, Kodak Black, and Eminem being clones. Uh, as I try to set up my headphones. But you hear things like that, and you're like, and for the long, I was like, Eminem being cloned, like, no, I kind of look back, I'm like, you know what, he was missing for a while. And then 2006 in December, and then so-called died and stuff, or whatever, flatline, drug overdose, and next thing you know, you don't see him for a while, and then like and this actually happens often with celebrities, kind of go missing for a while, and that's kind of a rabbit hole to chase down. But to say that it's impossible, or to say that oh no, there's no way they'll clone humans, that's naive. That's naive in my opinion because if they, we know they would, man. There's somebody out there saying, fuck it, let's do it. And the ultimate goal would be to clone a human being anyways, because if you're going down the road of cloning, if you're going to clone an animal, the end game will always be to clone a human being. You got to think of it from a scientific standpoint, from a scientist, like you're just curious to see if you can do it. A lot of scientists are just problem solvers. They come up with a problem like, hey, can I do this? Can I solve this problem? And yeah, they can talk about all the benefits and stuff like that behind cloning, but as I was doing research on today's topic, as far as cloning, I'm going to show some YouTube videos, probably not play them all the way through, but just highlight a few things. Cloning is big business. Of course, because why would it not be? As far as your meat, as far as farm animals, hey, it's easy to clone a thoroughbred racehorse or a certain type of cattle instead of raising it on your own, and instead of finding someone to mate. Now you get the perfect texture meat. You get wherever you want. We're out here playing God, man. We're out here doing things. I can understand if we were in desperate times and, the earth was literally dying because it's not. Or even if we were coming up on an ice age and we got to colonize the rest of the place and stuff like that, and we're getting closer and closer to that, we're getting closer and closer to that reality. Okay, we might have to clone some stuff there and then, but they're using it right now as a breeding ground to see if we can clone this shit now, we can do it later on when we're colonizing the galaxy, solar system, then the galaxy. I already jumped ahead because I feel like they already doing some shit that ain't telling us about. Because look how people react. This past year, look how people react. Look how your food shortages. Look how during COVID and stuff, towards the beginning of last year, hell, this time last year, everybody was hitting the shelves and stuff, freaking out and stuff. You think? Let's be honest. Do you think people can actually handle the truth? What was that? What was that Tom Cruise line from that one movie? You can't handle the truth when they're yelling at the dude or whatever. That's basically what it is, man. That's all it is. Let's see. Can I play this video now? Get a copyright claim? Whatever. We're gonna try. Yeah, we're gonna try to play and see what happens. Or not play. All right, yeah, just don't play. Just don't play at all. Nope. All right, whatever. So the article says U.S. scientists have successfully cloned an endangered black-footed ferret using frozen cells from a long-dead wild animal. Using frozen cells from a long-dead wild animal. Keep this in mind as we're talking about cloning. What do they do with aborted fetuses? You don't think they can take an aborted fetus and clone it? You don't think they can take the embryonic cells and clone it? There's two types of cloning: cloning through using embryonic cells and cloning using adult cells. Dollar She was cloned using adult cells, which we'll kind of get into. And hey, a lot of this stuff I just looked up last night and just kind of like, oh shit, because it's one of these things where I wanted to talk about it, but man, you don't want to go on a deep dive because it messes your head up, man. Because what are we talking about here? We're doing some things that they talk about like it's normal. The first time any native endangered species has been cloned in the United States. Notice, first time any native endangered species. So not an endangered species, but a native endangered species, obviously. And then two in the United States. So obviously they did it somewhere else. Because that's what they kill with. The first time this and that. You're trying to be specific. We don't want to hear specifics. If it's the first, we just want to hear the first, period. So this isn't even the first clone thing. clone animal, clone endangered species, none of that stuff. But it sounds good to some people who are more your animal lovers. Like, oh yeah, look, we can keep this species alive. Look, understand, everything comes to an end. Even the human species, at one point in time, it will come to an end. Whether we evolve and become something else, or we just cease to exist, everything comes to an end. And then the energy is transferred to something else. Then it gets a new life cycle or becomes something different, wherever the case may be. So it says a black-footed ferret recovery efforts aimed at increased genetic diversity and disease resistance took a bold step forward on December 10th. With the birth of Elizabeth Ann, created the cells of Willa, a black-footed ferret that lived more than 30 years ago. Oh man, that's wild. It's like why? It's like, oh, let's just see if we can do it. That's all it is. Let's just see if we can do this. The species North America's only native ferret was once thought to be extinct, but were brought back from nearly vanishing forever after a Wyoming rancher discovered a small population on his land in 1981. They were captured to begin a captive breeding program to recover the species. But only 7 of the original wild animals bred. All living ferrets today are closely related. That puts limitations on the species' genetic diversity, creating challenges for resilience to changing environments and emerging disease threats. See how they're setting up the narratives to like, hey, we had to clone this. We had to clone this ferret species in order to make sure it doesn't go out. Why? Because if the ferret was being eradicated or the species was dying out by natural means, meaning cause and effect, a bunch of causes and a bunch of effects, wherever the case may be, just let it go. Just let it go. It's almost like they're using it as an excuse just to see if they can clone something. Another testing ground, because if the end game is to clone a human, I'm going to clone a lot of different shit before, just so, I get my practice in. Because if I'm going to clone a human, I definitely don't want to fuck it up. Because if I do, everybody be watching and paying attention. Everyone's watching. Everyone's listening. All right, let's see. Let's see if YouTube will work for me today. I figure I won't just have the tab up. I'll just bring it up hell, even when I do that, it doesn't work sometimes either. Let's see if it does, though. Because I want to show you guys the video that I was watching. Let's see. Let's go to library. Human cloning, all types of different stuff. Like videos. And it's not there. This should be further back. But it talks about, here we go. So this is a video, top 10 or 10 animals that have been successfully cloned by scientists. 10 now. 10 animals. Not 1, not 2, 10. That's kind of, worrisome. Like, that's a little like, hey, you guys doing this? Cloning 10 animals? Why? Why do you feel like you need to do all these different cloning things? We're going to watch some of the video, probably not the whole thing. And this is from Mind Warehouse, hashtag Mind Warehouse YouTube page, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. Fingers crossed it don't mess up on me.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
How to go back to another commercial, another ad, even though, I said commercial. Nobody says that shit no more. Another ad, even though I had already, just because I went back to restart it, it just showed me an ad. All right, here we go.
Important that. But most people thought it was a serious scientific breakthrough.
Oh, come on, man. Don't do me this time. This is not going to play.
Learn more about them? Then let's get it on.
Let's see. No, it's not my internet. It's not none of that shit.
Frogs. We're all used to thinking that Dolly the sheep was the first cloned animal in the world, but this actually isn't true. The first successful cloning experiments were carried out on frogs, and it happened long before the birth of the famous sheep. More than 60 years ago, Robert Briggs and Thomas King cloned a northern leopard frog. However, they only cloned the stem cells of the animal. It was believed that the DNA in specialized cells was fixed and couldn't be used to produce a new organism. The renowned biologist Sir John Gurdon was able to refute this fact. In 1958, he removed DNA from the intestinal cell of a tadpole and placed it in an egg. So we're talking about going
all the way back to like 1958. All this time they've been trying to clone different animals, different things. Like I said, you know the end game. You know, this not even like a wild speculation. Of course the end game would be to clone a human being. Of course it is. Because one, that's money. That's, man, how many rich elites or so-called elites or whatever, so many billionaires around the world, you don't think they would clone themselves? Hell, would you clone yourself if you could? That's one way to continue that you'll live on. Then what we're really not talking about is you can clone a person, but can you clone a consciousness? Can you clone a soul? Can you clone a spirit? Makes you wonder too when I say you hear other people say the same thing as NPCs, non-playable characters. Well, there's a bunch of clones walking around here that are those non-playable characters. They ain't got no souls. They don't have no consciousness. They're just going on motions and stuff, going off of personality traits or things that's in the DNA. Actually, not even personality traits are in the DNA. Put them in a different environment, you have a different outcome, possibly. This opens the door to a lot of issues. Not just the ethical standing behind it, but why? 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 Now, I'm not even just talking about humans. Like, is it even ethical? So you talk about the ethical merit of cloning a human being, but like, how about the ethical merit of or question the ethics behind cloning just a species or a being in general? Like, because a frog is not conscious in the way what we think of, is it cool to, I don't know, clone another frog? Clone another sheep? Clone another ferret? You know, you can clone your dog for about $100,000. Yeah. You imagine that? Your dog? Just keep having the same dog over and over and over. Oh, man, my dog's about to die. You need to go ahead and get him cloned again. That way the dog stays in the family forever. Or at least a version of the dog, because nothing is ever good as the original. Then again, who fucking knows? Like, these are so much things that, once again, we really should be talking about, trying to figure out.
Contrary to the results of Briggs and King, a clone was born from it. A special micropipette, which could be used to easily transfer the cell nucleus. It was Gurdon's experiments that inspired.
Oh, come on, man. Why is this shit not fucking playing? It's so aggravating for no reason, just not playing.
Do indeed emit a bright green light. To achieve this effect,
oh, come on,
DNA
man.
into the rabbits. Just for the lulz, fluorescent protein.
That's not what I wanted at all. Oh, it didn't even go back and play the beginning. It didn't even go back and play the beginning. It just picked up where I was watching from the other day.
The Bachelor.
But obviously one of the things is clone frogs. Another one is, I'm so aggravated that this is really having such a hard time playing. It's not like I got so many tabs open either or doing so much on my computer. Of course, I complain about my computer all the time. Because it's like, it's not that serious, man. There's nothing going on. You don't need that much megabytes. You don't need that much of download speed, internet quality. You don't need it that much, man. You don't need that much. Like, a lot of these things don't take that much to run off of. As far as your internet speed, download speed, or whatever the case may be, a lot of things, even your computer, you don't need that much processing power to do like I'm doing 2 applications. I have Streamlabs, OBS opened, and Safari. That's it. and then the rest of the background processes that are on regardless, because there's so many different little small things that operates or that the process is completes while the computer is being turned on and running. So it has no real effect. That's just me complaining.
There are clones all around us. Are you ready to learn more about them? Then let's get it on.
Okay, so we're starting to talk about frogs. Then it jumped to a different thing.
We're all used to thinking that Dolly...
So it did. So it started off talking about frogs, and then it jumped to something different.
Would you like to have a copy?
You know what? I'm so tired of this shit. I don't even want to look at this damn thing. So I have the Wikipedia page pulled up, and it's probably all the copyright claims. YouTube probably is realizing that I'm streaming and stuff. They're like, nope, stop this shit. But yeah, the Wikipedia page pulled up all the different things. So it has black-footed ferret. So somebody updated that recently. Brown rat, a camel, a cat, domestic cattle, a coyote, dog, fruit flies, goat, horse, house, mouse, a monkey, all these different things that they out here just cloning. Just cloning shit, man. Pig, they're getting closer and closer, especially when they start doing monkeys and pigs. They're getting closer and closer to humans. So you actually think there's no human clones out there? You actually think there's no human clones? And it says they're talking about the frog. So in 1958, John Gruden, then at Oxford University, explained he had successfully cloned a frog. He did this by using intact nuclei from somatic cells from a xenopus tadpole. So the same as almost like an embryonic cell, as far as your mammals go. This was an important extension of a work of Briggs and King in 1952 on transplanting nuclei from embryonic blastula cells. All your little scientific words and stuff. Even sheep, right? The first cloned sheep, obviously you check the resources on Wikipedia. So this is from embryo.asu.edu. So it was at Arizona State University. It says the first cloned large mammal was a sheep by Steen Willardinson. I'm saying that all wrong. In 1984, however, the cloning was done from early embryonic cells. If you know anything about embryonic cells, embryos, think of a woman being pregnant in first couple months in her first trimester. That's your embryo. So they're taking that and then cloning that, taking cells from that embryo and then cloning it. While the sheep dolly, that's what I was talking about. While the sheep dolly in 1996 was cloned from an adult cell. So imagine taking someone like myself, taking the cells out of my body and cloning it, and then putting the clone cells into a woman. Man, I don't even know how they do it. I guess they do just put it into a woman and then have a woman give birth. Makes you wonder, once again, human trafficking, is it just about sex? Is it just about slavery? Or is it about experimentations on human beings? It's probably what it is, right? It's probably even more messed up than what we realize. And it says, see here, commercial animal cloning. Let's look this up. Commercial animal cloning is a cloning of animals for commercial purposes. Currently, pets are being cloned commercially along with livestock, competition, camels, and horses, and even endangered and extinct animals. And a lot of stuff you can find on YouTube. Obviously, my YouTube is going to act like shit today, so I guess we're not even going to bother it. Fuck you, YouTube. So you can find these different videos and stuff on there. I'll probably try to link the video still in the descriptions for the video version of the podcast that I'll upload to YouTube, even though they get on my nerves, and Odyssey. So it says, along with livestock, competition, camels, and horses, and even endangered and extinct animals. So once again, they're out here just manufacturing things, just cloning things along because they feel like it. Yet, we think that human cloning is not possible. Why is that? I think I seen an article talking about, oh yeah, we could, yeah, actually it was recently too. I seen it on Twitter over the past weekend. It was saying, oh yeah, cloning, or no, it was a YouTube video, I think, saying that cloning is not possible yet. or yeah, that cloning is unethical, but it's not impossible to clone a human yet. The second they say it's impossible, we don't have the technology to do it yet, they're lying. They're lying. So you have the technology to do one thing, but you don't have technology to do another thing. It's like the vaccines, and we'll get to that when Trump talks about, as far as Trump's speech, we was talking about a vaccine. I'm like, yeah, you can miss me with that vaccine shit. Once again, you can like someone and agree with a lot of things that they say, but you can also disagree with them at the same time. I know that seems to be a complicated issue for some people in the world. That how can you like someone but also dislike some of the things they say? I know that seems very unusual, but it is possible. I promise you. So he was talking about the vaccines and stuff. I'm like, oh, tooting his own horn. Look, we got it done and so fast. Yet, and he talked about remedies. But my thing is, what about cures? What about cures? If we can get a vaccine so fast, I don't know, how come nobody said, hey, let's get a cure? There's no money in cures. You understand that? There's no money in cures. And that's what bothers me about the vaccine stuff, because he's setting it up for the left to get mad at him about it, but yet they don't call him out. Like, call him out. Hey, how come we got a vaccine? Because they don't care. None of them care. They talking about money. They're talking about money. They're talking about money. Trump is a businessman. Whether he actually cares about helping everybody, regardless anyway. But then again, he's saying the vaccine is only for older people as well too. So he's talking to people his age and older. Him and Joe Biden. He's talking to those people if they're not in good health. So that's also another thing too to point out, that he's speaking to the elders, our elderly group, whatever you want to call them, the older generation. But it's to go back to the cloning stuff. Yes, this is a Wikipedia page, but click on the resources, man. It's that simple. How does that have a blank one? Anyway, I've seen a lot of stuff on the different YouTube videos and different things over time. But here you have, so the question of human cloning, right? It all sounds so scientific and so freaky, yet you can see a lot of clones have been in cloning movies and stuff like that. You see things in movies as far as cloning and whatnot. I said cloning movies. I messed it all up. So different movies you see talking about cloning. We talked about before at predictive programming, how they put it in these different movies and TV shows, just so you go ahead and get used to the idea. Because now when we talk about cloning, it doesn't even seem so far-fetched or scientific. It's just a normal day. So much that I show you the article, it just gets missed. Oh, we cloned the ferret. Oh, who gives a shit? That's basically what they're saying. That's basically how we see it as. Oh, you cloned a ferret? Cool. Nobody gives a fuck. We know you guys are cloning stuff. We know you guys are cloning human beings. We know you're doing this. If you look on YouTube, it's a documentary that says the first human clone. And it's this guy, Panayiotis Savos. Yeah, we said it. Arpanos Savos. That sounds like a better way to say it for me. He's from Cyprus, the country of Cyprus. He's a physiologist who was born in Cyprus and later immigrated to the United States. Savos has been the subject of controversies for making unsubstantiated claims that he can clone human beings. It's almost like, hey man, God damn it, you don't tell nobody you can do that. And he's like, nah, I can do it. I can easily do it. And he has a website, ProfessorZavos.com, selling it. He's like, I'm gonna make this money. You got me messed up. But it says that Zavos claims to have created and implanted cloned human embryos. However, Zavos' claims were roundly dismissed after he failed to produce any proof and have been widely condemned by doctors, politicians, and religious and pressure groups. Professor Hans Evers, chairman of the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology, stated, quote, all the scientific evidence so far indicates that it is completely impossible to clone humans. Anyone claiming that he is going to clone a human does not know what he is talking about. All these guys, including Zavos, are doing damage to profession and goodwill we have built up for many years in the area of fertility treatments. So he's doing it for fertility. Once again, money. It's not for the benefit of humanity, not just for money reason. Because I understand some people, women, males, whoever, individuals, spouses, cases, spouses, relationships, domestic partnerships, whatever. I'm trying to say all the different terms, whatever. I understand people want to have babies and stuff, but yet no one ever stops to think, hey, well, how about we adopt a kid? Obviously, it's coming from some of his own biological kids, but still, if you want a kid that bad, there's a bunch of kids out there that, would love to have a home, right? But let's not forget about the kids that parents that have abandoned their kids. These kids would love to have a home. But hey, if you want your own biological kids, then get a damn clone. Because essentially, it's kind of what your kids are, right? Splitting up cells and stuff, whatever. Splitting up the DNA from one person and another, from an maternal bloodline and a paternal bloodline, and put that shit together. A science project. Sex is a science project, essentially. It's an experiment. It's one of the best technological ways that you can produce an offspring. Mother Nature already gave you away, or what you want to call God, the divine entity, or whatever the case may be. But it seems to work pretty decent for those that can and cannot do it, although they also sterilize us. But whatever. Says Professor Robert Winston, emeritus professor of fertility studies at Imperial College London, said, quote, I do not know of any credible evidence that suggests Dr. Zavos can clone a human being. This seems to be yet another one of his claims to get repeated publicity. So these are just everybody saying, no, he can't do it. And that's what makes me wonder, like, hey, he's saying he can't clone. It's technologically impossible to clone a human. What? But we can clone everything else? We can't clone a human, but we can clone everything else. You guys understand that, right? I showed you the list. You can go do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Go check it out yourself. Look up your documentaries on YouTube, wherever else. Do your own research. Read all the documents, and they're telling you they can clone a monkey. They're telling you they can clone a pig. Two things that are close in DNA resemblance to human beings. They can clone all these different mammals. They clone an amphibian, a frog. But it's so technologically impossible to clone a human. And see, it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to be like, no, it's completely impossible. What? And that's what gets me. Like, you telling me it's completely impossible, yet it's possible to clone animals, it's possible to clone mammals, and to apparently make commercial livestock where you're cloning animals, you're cloning mammals so much, so often that hell, you done made it into a regular industry. Yet, it's impossible, it's completely impossible to clone humans. According to Professor Hans Evers, completely impossible. That shit right there is where I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't like what you're talking about here, man. You're telling me it's completely impossible? Completely impossible. How? How can it be completely impossible, guy? I don't trust what you're saying, because what you're saying, it seems a little odd. And the reference to that, let's see, is David Derbyshire, Roger Highfield, 14 October 2003, Maverick Doctor's baby cloning claim rejected as fantasy, reported in the Telegraph. And that was back in 2003. So is it still completely impossible? Is it? Is it still completely impossible? I just want to know. I'm just curious. Because this is back from the early 2000s, that Professor Zavos said that he can clone a human being. This is from the Independent, article from the Independent, and that was in 2009. 2021. Still can't clone a human? Is it completely impossible now? Or did the science get that much better? Because as we're getting down to almost the atomic level as far as microprocessors, microchips, and then motherboards and everything getting super small, smaller and smaller. You have nano SIM cards, everything getting smaller and smaller and smaller because technology getting more advanced year in and year out. But don't worry, it's completely impossible to clone a human being. You know, that's one of the things you gotta do a deep dive on your own, because I could spend hours on here just watching different videos and showing you guys different things and different articles. But to me, you only have to go that far. Just use your brain, use your rational, logical thinking. If they clone this, and then they clone that, and then they clone this, and they've been doing it for decades, odds are they probably already learned how to clone a human being. They just won't tell you, because that raises a lot of questions. Not just the ethical standards of it, should we do it, should we not do it, or the ethical question of it, should we do it or should we not do it, but also the commercial side, the profit. Like, you know, are people making money off this? Or, like I said, if it only costs like $100,000 to clone your dog or whatever, or less than that, probably now, I think it's 10,000 or something, whatever the case, whatever the number is. If it only costs that much to clone a dog, well, if it only costs, I don't know, 500,000 to clone a human being. So instead of buying that big fancy house, you're like, you know what? I want to clone my dead child. What about that? Well, if I lost my mother and I never really got a chance to know her, and so I say, hey, you know what? I want to clone a version of my mother. God damn it, that's in a movie too. What movie is that in? Where she cloned herself and as a mother. Actually, there was a movie. What was that movie called? I think it's Xenon. No, not Xenon. Eon Flux. There we go. It was anime developed on MTV. I think I mentioned it before, but Eon Flux. Oh yeah, because it was talking about a virus and everything, but it was also talking about cloning humans. So they were cloning everybody and stuff over the years. They were cloning everybody over the years. For 400 years, they were cloning human beings, but they couldn't figure out how to cure the virus that killed the majority of the human population. This is in a movie in like 2008, 2009. They put this shit in movies, TV shows. They put out these stupid articles. Oh, we can't do this. You know they're lying, man. They're constantly lying about it all the time, man. But it's something that I just want to bring up. I just want to show you guys that article just to show you how commonplace cloning animals is. I didn't even realize that. Some of you might have already known that. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that cloning animals is just such a common thing, especially the commercialization of cloning animals. Although I knew they're cloning meat, they're selling us cloned meat and stuff like that. But I didn't know they were cloning racehorses. Like, are you serious? So now now I gotta be suspicious of who wins the Kentucky Derby every year because it got someone over here cloning a past thoroughbred winner. So. You gotta worry about transgender women and biological women's sports. And you gotta be worried about clone horses at a Kentucky Derby. We're just welcome to the future, man. It's right in front of your face. I just didn't know it's so common. Like it's so common to the point that it doesn't even get talked about. A little article here and right over everybody's head. And like I said, I missed that. I missed that article. Oh, yeah, we cloned a ferret. No big deal. Yeah, we stopped the species from becoming extinct. No big deal. We're just doing our job to help out the earth and help out all the species. You know, we're great human beings. Oh no, we can't completely clone a human being. That's impossible. Yeah, we can't clone a human being. Yeah, that's just. Yeah, it's impossible for us to do. That's all. I'm really supposed to buy this shit. It made me think about my daughter. She came home from school Friday. She was talking about, yeah, Dad, we'll watch something in school, and we were watching the moon landing, and I was the only one to say, like, oh my God, this looks so fake. And then everybody looked at me like, no, it's not. And it's like, it looks fake. I was like, hey man, that's something I didn't want to come to terms with either. But like, hey, some of the shit looks fake, bro. It looks fake. And I'm not talking about the quality of how it was back then versus now and how we look at it, but like, when you look back at some of these older movies and it's fake, and so you look at it now, if they don't do a remaster and stuff, you can see how bad the CGI looks in today's terms. But it looked cool back then. I was watching Escape from LA with Kurt Russell, and I was like, oh man, I used to love that, watching that movie when I was a kid. But watching now, I was like, oh my god, this shit looks so fake. But I know then it looked cool. And so, my daughter was talking about watching moon landing, and even when she was talking about watching the Mars rover landing they seen in school, they were watching in school, I guess like a clip or something like that. And she was like, hey, this looks fake too. I was like, hey, somebody might call you crazy, but hey, it's not your fault it looks fake. It's not my fault it looks fake. I'm sorry the shit looks fake, man. What do you want? I'm sorry that it looks like you landed somewhere in Nevada and you just put a red tint on it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Shit looks kind of fake, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I watched that Mars rover landing, whatever. I was like, this shit looks fake as fuck, man. Like, you telling me the quality ain't that much better? Say if they were NASA, it's like, oh, we can't go back to the moon because we don't have the same technology that we did back then. What? What? Yeah, we're gonna take a deep dive. Not a deep dive. We're gonna look into some space stuff too. And YouTube don't fuck with me while I'm trying to live stream and stuff. Maybe I just cut off the live stream. Maybe I should just go ahead and just do a recording of it instead. They probably still get mad anyway. They probably know. That shit makes me laugh though, man. It really does, man. Yeah. It's some of these technologies. There's another video I wanted to show you guys too, because like so many, there's like 5 top secret technologies that no one knew about until it came out. Hell, your B-2 stealth bomber. Nobody knew about that for the longest. It was something that they claimed was in development at Area 51. And they came out with, hell, they said Area 51 didn't exist for decades, and they said, oh yeah, it does exist. What? Yeah, because you shut it down and you open up something else. Some other area, S2, S1, wherever the case may be on the map, you open up something else. But man, they're lying to us. They're lying to us. And you say that, oh, they wouldn't lie to us? Yes, the fuck they would lie to us. They lie to us about everything. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I can even blame them for lying to us, because to see how human beings react towards a lot of issues and a lot of things in the world, in modern society today, I don't even think I can even. I just think it's like, hey, it's kind of dishonest. You need to be open and truthful about everything and stuff like that. But I can get why those powers that be, wherever you want to call them, lie to us. Some people can't handle it. Although it's also part of the programming and stuff anyways. They don't want us to handle shit like that. I wanted to show y'all some world news because I thought it was interesting. This is an article from Associated Press. It says Francis Sarkozy convicted of corruption, sentenced to jail. So this is obviously out of Paris. A Paris court on Monday found French former President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption and influence peddling, and sentenced him to 1 year in prison and 2 years suspended sentence. Excuse me. So 1 year in prison. Corruption. So corruption gets you 1 year in prison in France, huh? Oh yeah, y'all really strict, huh? 1 year in prison. So it's not mind-boggling to see a president be involved in corruption. If you think Donald Trump is involved in corruption, oh, by all means, let's do this. Let's do it. Right? That's what we've been trying to do. Let's go after his taxes. Let's try and impeach him. Nothing sticks. That's good, because you're opening up the door that, oh, all these other former presidents can be impeached as well. I already showed you the article of impeachment that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene submitted to, or that put in the bill or whatever, the article of impeachment. It's just sitting there. No one else in Congress wants to touch it. Not even your so-called Republicans, who I think don't do shit. But I don't like Republicans or Conservative Party. Republican or Democratic Party. The whole party thing is annoying to me. We kind of talk about that as far as we go into talking about Trump's speech. But it says a 60-year-old politician who was president from 2007 to 2012 was convicted for having tried to illegally obtain information from a senior magistrate in 2014 about illegal action in which he was involved. Oh my God, I didn't even realize this. It's kind of petty, to be honest with you. It's kind of petty. Now it makes me wonder: was he really corrupt, or was it just planted on him? Once again, no one's paying attention. These people elected, these elected officials, these people in office, like anyone and everyone is open to corruption. So if you're gonna put Trump on a microscope, then you need to put Joe Biden under a microscope. If you're gonna do one for one party or one person in particular, do it to everybody. Let's do it to Obama. Let's go back and do it to George Bush Jr. Let's go back and do it to Bill Clinton. Go back and do it to George Bush Sr. Let's go back and do it to everybody. And those that are still alive, let's fucking. If we're gonna do it to one, if we're gonna do it to Trump, then let's do it to everybody. Everybody. Because if you're saying somehow Trump merited impeachment and being investigated, even though clearly there is no evidence of anything, that they literally made shit up out their ass, then let's do it to everybody. Let's do it. Let's do it, because if we actually care about the so-called country and nation that we live in, we will be suspicious of everyone as far as our elected officials, because we know that it is possible for them to be corrupt and make too much fucking money. You don't need to be living in no mansions and stuff like that, man. And don't give me that bullshit about selling books. Nah, man. No. I don't know who out here reading Obama's books, but don't give me that. Let's see. The court says Sarkozy is entitled to request to be detained at home with an electronic bracelet. So that's what you get, huh? This is the first time in France's modern history that a former president has been convicted of corruption. Former president. Let's see, Sarkozy defendants. So did they do it when he was out of office? Let's see how, okay, there's some details in this article, or at least it's long enough. The court found that Sarkozy and his co-defendants sealed a pact of corruption based on consistent and serious evidence. The court said the facts were particularly serious given that they were committed by a former president who used his status to help a magistrate who has served his personal interests. So he helped the judge, I'm assuming, if I'm reading that correctly. Right? They have tried to illegally obtain information from. So he tried to get information illegally from a senior magistrate. So was that like some type of judge, correct? About a legal action he was involved in. So he was trying to get information about something that he was involved in. So it's corruption because he used his power, his executive powers, or his presidential powers, abuse of power, in a sense, right? Which is crazy because it sounds like a normal day in the office for a majority of presidents in the United States history, minus Trump, which is incredible. Because they tell us Trump is so corrupt, yet he didn't do none of that stuff. Because if he did, well, you know where he'll be at. Hell, if he did any of those actual things, they would have fucking hung him on the Capitol, or in the Capitol building on the Senate floor for all of us to watch. That's what I feel like, man. They'll do that shit, or they'll do that shit at a national mall. Yeah, let's hang his ass right here. All you gonna watch this shit because he committed high crimes and treason. Let's hang his ass. They'll do that just to put all of us on notice. Hey, this is what you think you're gonna do to our country? But no, they didn't find nothing. It says Sarkozy had firmly denied the allegations against him during the 10-day trial that took place at the end of last year. 10-day trial. Damn, that's kind of fast, man. Right? The NBA playoffs only take 10 days. That's kind of fast, ain't it? The corruption trial focused on phone conversations that took place in February 2014. Almost kind of sound eerie, right? Almost kind of like how they try to do with Trump as far as the Ukraine thing. Right? Right? This makes me wonder, did this guy actually do it or not? And he was way out of office. That's why I like to talk about these stories around the world, far outside the United States of America, because it seems like a lot of the same script and playbook is in play in all these other countries as well. We talked about as far as Myanmar and how their military took over because of election fraud, and kind of glad the military, United States military, did do the same thing, because we would have had what we see in Myanmar. It's kind of eerie. Maybe it's just me. I know I'm doing this live and I'm doing this on the fly, but it's kind of eerie to me, man. It's kind of eerie. I'm just saying. It says during the investigation, they incidentally discovered that Sarkozy and Herzog were communicating via secret mobile phones registered to the alias Paul Bismuth. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing. That kind of goes into it, but whew, huh. The last paragraph said he has handed preliminary charges of passive corruption, illegal campaign financing, concealment of stolen assets from Libya, and criminal association. He has denied wrongdoing. And that's Sarkozy. Wait a minute. Another investigation opened in 2013. Sarkozy is accused of having taken millions from then Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi to illegally finance his 2000 campaign. Saying Gaddafi, Obama killed. And wasn't Gaddafi's son a U.S. citizen too? Oh man, there's so many things we could talk about, get into. So many things that have gone over people's heads and stuff. And I was kind of paying attention back then in real time, as far as Gaddafi and what was going on. But man, okay, I just want to throw that out there. You gotta pay attention to these world news, man. There's so much stuff that goes on, and it's all connected. Once again, it seems like it's not. It almost seems like it kind of took the same playbook. Oh shit. His Conservative Party is suspected of having spent 42.8 million euros, $50.7 million, almost twice the maximum authorized to finance the campaign, which ended in victory for a socialist rival. Prince. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to do some own research offline about this, because, yeah, now to see that he's a conservative. Yeah. And see, I went into this like, oh, look, another corrupt politician going down. And I was like, oh, nope. Because when I seen the charges brought up in this article, I was like, that seems kind of iffy. Seems kind of sketchy, because it reminds me of what they tried to do to Trump. So I was like, so-called phone call, trying to use your influence, and that's not the case of what happened. A phone call, they tried to use that against General Flynn. In their documents, their own FISA court documents, oh yeah, we didn't find nothing. They didn't actually do anything. And to see that Sarkozy, I'm assuming, based on this article, is a conservative president. Yeah, it says Sarkozy withdrew from active politics after failing to be chosen as his Conservative Party's presidential candidate. Okay, yeah, so this is crazy. And then he lost to socialist rival. Socialist. So France fell to socialism. It sounds like it. Yeah, man. It's a wild shit, man. I didn't even realize this. It's something that has went over my head. I didn't realize this. This is interesting. It's something I have to do some more research on. All right. So we have an article here from NPR, National Public Radio, because they fucking suck. All these news outlets suck, man. And it's just National Public Radio, like your tax dollars are funding this. Something Torres says talks about it. Your tax dollars are funding this, and this is shit they put out. Trump keeps up conspiracies, blast Biden and GOP foes in first post-presidency by speech. So I'm gonna read some of this and kind of dissect it at the same time. So it says, just a month after leaving his office, Donald Trump on Sunday broke with the practices of past former presidents and took on the man who beat him in the 2020 election. During the keynote address that lasted an hour and a half, so yeah, I missed the first 30 minutes of it yesterday live stream, and then I listened to the first 30 minutes this morning. And began more than an hour late in Orlando, Florida, to the Friendly Conservative Political Action Conference. So I'm not conservative. I mentioned that before. I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm not a libertarian. I'm an independent. I'm gonna leave me the fuck alone. I talk about this often. I'm not nothing. I don't want to be involved in your parties or your political affiliations. None of that stuff. This is not me. Because anytime that you say that you agree to something with somebody, all of a sudden you get thrown into the group, and then you go along with everything, and then people think that you go along with everything that they talk about. That's why I don't like being thrown into any category, any labels, because there's too much groupthink and too much labeling that goes along with groupthinks. I'm me. I think what I want to think when I choose to think, and I can change my mind about whatever I think about at any given time, any given point. I'm always in constant fluctuation of my thoughts changing, going all over the place, in a sense, because the more information you get, obviously, you're still formulating your thought. So I never heard of CPAC before. So this is the first time I ever heard of CPAC. And I definitely didn't know what the acronym was for. But as I was watching a live stream on Right Side Broadcasting, which they had like 3 million people watching on there. They only got like 1 million subscribers. So they got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they had like 3 million people watch the live stream. And you know they were watching it for Trump's speech. And the whole Trump speech was eerie, man. And I didn't know how to feel about it because I knew he was going to say a lot of stuff anyways. And I know it sounds annoying to some, but he has to say it because, well, they don't actually cover it. They don't actually cover it. All they do is sit there and say, oh, he said this, he said that. Even in this article, it's a lot of quote words. There's no actual full quotes. It's just a lot of words, right? There's not actual full quote, a big paragraph or anything. They're just taking out little excerpts. So that alone right there makes you kind of suspicious. And even some of them, I think it was ABC, some other ones, they had hundreds and thousands of views or whatever, as far as this Trump speech. But I also noticed that some of them only had it for like an hour. But it's an hour and a half. So some of them didn't even have the full 30 minutes of the speech, or the full hour and a half of the speech. So they only had like an hour of it. So they missed out 30 minutes. So stuff like that makes me a little weary, because when I listen to his speech, first and foremost, his narcissistic tendencies came out, but you got to toot your own horn, because when no one else, the media won't do the job, nobody else will say what you're doing, you got to stand up and say, you got to stand up for yourself and say, hey, look what I did. Look what we did. Look what my administration did. Look at the things that we put together and whatnot. Yes, he talked about the election and election fraud and stuff like that, but he has to keep saying these things because it's not just Americans watching, which is something that the CPAC, they kind of not alluded to, they did a little video presentation before Trump came on saying, look, it's not just about America. This is socialist communist movement is going on all around the world. It's talking about Japan, it's talking about South Korea, it's talking about other places around the world where they're listening and they're watching. Because just like a France that apparently I didn't know, look like they failed at socialism. Because I mean, they literally voted for a socialist president. Shit, okay. Don't act up on me, computer. Don't act up on me, computer. Let's see. Let's just type this France socialist. Let's see what shows up. France is the socialist future we should dread. It's from some type of organization. Let's see if I can find like a mainstream post. It's fun because it seems socialism goes one way and you have communism, but it seems like it all leads to the same thing, which is the takeover of the state. That's what it seems like to me. Man, you can't find nothing. I just want to find like a nice. Emmanuel Macron tries to survive socialist embrace. French socialist defense minister, blah blah. Okay, I just want to see. So I'm assuming that this is probably a bad assumption. Oh, okay, so they're democratic socialists. So worldpopulationreview.com. Democratic socialism describes as a socialist economy where production and wealth are collectively owned, but the country has a democratic system of government. That don't even sound right. That sounds like oxymoron. Oh, we can vote, but we all gotta own the shit. It says under the democratic socialism, the ownership of private property is limited. Nope, not for me. Not for me. Not for me. So these are different countries that are democratic socialists. Wow. So private property is limited. So you go for social. This is what Trump was talking about in the speech. He said you could start off with socialism and then they move on to communism, because communism is the abolishment of private property. So socialism starts it off, and then communism rounds it up. It comes on from third base and say, "Oh, look, scored, complete government takeover." Shit, I didn't know these countries were. Huh. This is Europe, bro. Because so this is Portugal, this is Brazil. Yeah, I was talking my country in South America. That's not Peru. So the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, United Kingdom. I didn't know they were democratic socialists. Oh, that's bad, bro. So France, obviously. Oh, I could probably just read the list, huh? So Armenia, Bolivia, Brazil, Croatia, Denmark, Ecuador, Finland, France, Germany, Greenland, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Moldova, Netherlands, Nicaragua. God damn. Oh my God. Now the whole fight for freedom around the world is coming close to home, because me being as American, sometimes narcissism, egotistical, where I'm not worried about the rest of the world. I'm worried about, what goes on here. Hey, if the rest of y'all are falling to that, that's y'all business. But nope, because socialism, communism, and knocking on the door inside the United States, and it's trying to incorporate it right now. They're trying to incorporate it right now. Have a socialist party that serves as a governing party. Or Venezuela, right there is all I need to know. To see what happens to the currency and things that happen in Venezuela, Turkey as well, their currency and what happened with their banks and stuff. I'm good. This is something what Trump was talking about as far as his speech yesterday, saying there's a reason why Latin America and places like that are looking, South America are looking at the United States and what's going on around the world. So those 3 million people that was watching on Right Side Broadcasting, and I'm sure other networks around the world, they're looking to hear what Trump has to say, because if we fall to socialism and communism, that's it. Shit, that's it. That's most of the modern world. I didn't even realize it was that bad. Oh my God, I'm just having a realization right now. Oh, once again, they're playing a different game than what we're playing. I'm late to the party on this, which I haven't mentioned. I'm late to the party on this because I was like, it's happened over there in other places. It's happened in the past stuff. It's not gonna happen here. I was being naive, like which a lot of Americans have been. We're being naive, like, oh, it can't happen here, because I'm not talking about because of the people, elected officials, the politicians, not because they dumbasses, but I'm thinking more or less we the American people. We've been told that we're free too much, that we're like, nah, we're free. Ain't nobody's gonna take that away. But once again, you bring in a couple of black swan events, you crash stock market, you bring in some natural disasters, quote unquote natural. You bring in some of those things, and then next thing you know, you bring in some gun shooting sprees, not shooting sprees, shit, what do they call them? I can't think of the word right now. Oh, mass shootings. You bring in some mass shootings, you bring in a COVID-19 pandemic, say the virus happened, next thing you know, this law comes into place, that law comes into place, this law comes into place. Next thing you know, you don't have no more fucking freedom. And that's just within a decade, bro. All those things I mentioned have happened in the past decade. Oh my God. This is bad. Okay, let's see what else his article talks about. He says he called it, quote unquote, the most disastrous first month of any president in modern history. I mean, it really is. It really is. Within a month, a calendar month, had all these executive orders, like, what are we up to, almost 100? I don't even know. Stop counting after about the first 20, 30 in the first couple of days. All these executive orders, we talked about the whole transgender thing and stuff. We're talking about the kind of loosely talking about the COVID-19 bill that they're trying to pass now. We talked about them trying to take away guns. All this happened. That's a lot of shit happening that you're supposed to, you at least want to spread out your first term administration But once again, they're behind schedule because of Trump being in office, putting them behind schedule. As far as your globalization, fuck is already here. I didn't know that all these countries fell to socialism already. God damn, bro. Oh my God. I remember I talked about I want to move to Sweden. I didn't realize it was Democrat social. I'm so naive. I'm so unknown. Like I said, I don't know shit. I'm just a regular guy trying to figure this stuff out. Even though I knew about one part of it, I didn't know about another part of it. So I had to collect. You have to collect a whole bunch of information to see the big picture. Otherwise, you wouldn't know this. I didn't even realize Sweden was Democrat socialist. I thought most of the places was like democracy, republic. Not necessarily a republic, but some side. I mean, it has some form of democracy. But voting doesn't mean shit if your vote don't actually count. Why are we so concerned about voting if the shit is rigged? You don't think just if we are rigged here in the United States of America election, then all the elections around the world are rigged. It's to be that blunt. I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple. To be that blunt, it's that simple. I was trying to see what system Ukraine has, but he was talking about a lot of things, and he really was like, Trump basically was like, "Hey, look how bad shit is. I only been out of office for a month. Look how bad it is." And he was almost. It was the biggest. I told you so. That's what that speech was, man. It was the biggest. I fucking told you so. And he said it too. Like, I told y'all this was gonna happen. He's like, hey, now y'all see what COVID-19 really was about when he talks about the election and stuff. Now you see what it really was about. It's funny to me too that they had the CPAC in Orlando, Florida, which is more of a Democratic area. Orlando and Tampa, Miami, and the rest of the state is more of a red zone Republic area as far as what they want to do, especially when it comes in terms of masks. So I thought it was funny that they had a place there that it was big on wearing masks and stuff. When you can add it in somewhere else, you can add in Polk County, a place that doesn't have those same mask mandatory or even mask mandates or restrictions, wherever the case may be. Could have had it somewhere else. So I found it interesting that they had it in Orlando, which I didn't think it was a good place to have a conservative. Hell, they could have had it in Miami. They could have had it anywhere else. Hell, shit, they could have had it. Well, I guess you can't have it at Mar-a-Lago, but I would have fuck it, have it at Mar-a-Lago. I know the Republican Party doesn't want Donald Trump there. They want to move on past him. But I like that he came out and said there is no Patriot Party, which I didn't think there was anyway. Because if he didn't say it, then it is none. So I like that there is no Patriot Party. It's a Republican Party. You just, instead of trying to create something new, just going to reform or really just change the party to what it wanted to be. The Republican, it's not even the Republican Party in what you think of. It's just for America. That's it. It's for America. It's for liberty, small government, small to little to no government. I say no government, but little to no government. And it's, taxes and stuff like that. Like, I don't like political parties, and I'm still not going to join it. But doesn't mean I won't agree with some of the things they're saying. Doesn't mean I won't, from time to time, show some support. I know. Once again, it seems kind of odd that you can, like something that somebody says, but also disagree with them at the same time. I know that seems to be a hard thing for people around the world to understand that, yes, you don't have to fully agree with everybody on everything. It's a wild concept. Another wild concept that I keep spewing out that seems so absurd, yet makes the most sense in the world. Because is there someone in your life that you agree with everything on? No. Whether it be your spouse, your parents, your kids, whoever, friends, co-workers, whatever the case may be, you don't agree with everybody on everything. That's okay. That's the whole point. We need disagreements so we can kind of iron out these issues, these wrinkles in the species, definitely within the nation, and how we want to be governed. To me personally, there is no how do I want to be governed. There is no governance. There's economy. There's free market and trade. That's it. Outside of that, leave me alone. If it's not a contractual business arrangement, a business agreement, if money ain't involved, mind damn business. Leave me alone. Oh, we're gonna take away your guns. No, you're not. not take away my guns, because you don't give me the right to bear arms. The right to bear arms does not come from you. Does not come from no human. Hell, doesn't come from no alien. I have the right to defend myself. That just goes without question. Hell, I'm sure if a tiger was able to have thumbs, a tiger would have, or a lion was able to have thumbs. A lion would have a gun too. But guess what? Doesn't necessarily need it, because it'll just rip your fucking face off with it, with his teeth. Guarantee that lion, that tiger, whatever, has the right to defend itself. My cat has the right to defend itself. You mess my cat enough, she's gonna take off and run. She also gonna sneak up behind you and rip your face off too at the same time. When she constantly tries to attack, she constantly attacks me when I walk into my room, because she jumps out from underneath my bed, hits me, and then take off back running. I mean, I'm not really winning that battle, am I? Someone's a little bit more sneaky and more crafty at attacking. Someone's a little bit more trained predator than I am. So, right to defend myself. You know, I'm not gonna take a gun to my cat, but you get what I'm saying. Like, your right to defend yourself goes without question. That's every being right. Like, it's not even a right. It's just I can defend myself. And I'm not gonna bring a knife to a gunfight. That doesn't work that way, man. You know, I'm not no super secret agent, spy, ninja, whatever. Got stealthy come single behind you. Nah, bro, you got a gun. I got a gun. U.S. government has a gun. I got a gun. These police officers around the world, they got a gun. I got a gun. Don't get mad at me for having a gun. Why do you have a gun? So Trump was talking about come for your guns, which we already talked about. He's trying to do. He talked about renewable energy. He's talking about the windmills, how many issues they have, and even solar energy, how many issues they have and stuff, whatever. I mean, these things are good, but if we probably focus more technology on it, we can be a little bit better. But they're not. They don't want that. They don't want that. They don't have carbon tax and tax the shit out of everything and take your money away. It says the main thrust of Trump's criticism, though, was on immigration policy. He claimed Biden was eliminating our southern border, triggering a massive flood of illegal immigration that was letting criminals pour out onto the U.S. streets. Well, that's exactly what it is, man. It's what? Funny thing is, too, Trump was saying stuff that wasn't like it wasn't like it was so, oh my God, you know what? I can't believe he's saying this. No, it's like what we already was saying. It's what he literally said, shit that the rest of us was already saying. Those who are paying attention and those who are going without bias and seeing through the bullshit of a Biden administration. You can't tell me some of those people that voted for Biden, you know, the few people that did. I don't know how a former president has more people show up to a conference to watch him speak. Some people alluded to calling it the State of the Union address. And that's the odd thing about it all, because I felt like he was the president. And not because I want him to be, but it's just the manner in which he was speaking. He was speaking as if he was. He talked about, he kind of tiptoed around running for president in 2024, but he mainly said, damn, YouTube ain't working for me, at least on this computer. I know it's working on my phone. But he basically was saying that it's like, oh, you know, don't worry, they're going to lose we could take back the White House in 2024 and 2024. He's like, to be honest with you, they already lost it. And it's kind of like, wait, what? He's like, really, though, they already lost it. And it's like, wait, what? Wait, what? What do you mean they already lost it? Like, what do you know that we don't know? Because once again, this was a former sitting president. He had all the intel. We talked about the quantum computers, the quantum initiative that he started. He has the intel. He even brought up how, well, we talked about on this show, as far as the Time magazine article. They talked about they were bragging. Kind of mentioning about the union stuff, which something Tory says, and Millie Weaver were already talking about the unions taking over and stuff like that long time ago. And I didn't hear a lot of the I didn't hear a lot of their stuff they talk about at unions. I listen to the shows and stuff every now and then, probably a couple times a week or whatever. But I thought it was funny that he even brought up the whole Time magazine article. I was like, I told you, it said the exact same thing I said. What a lot of people were saying, that, oh, look, they're bragging about it. They bragged about stealing the election. They called it fortifying the election. Like they literally bragged about it. He's up there like, look, this is what y'all think, huh? This is what happened. Told y'all this is gonna happen. So much so that they bragged about stealing the election. And yet they're saying, oh, false claims. I'm sorry. Did they not read the Time magazine article? Is any mainstream media outlet covering that Times magazine article? That literally gave the blueprint, that gave the playbook on how to steal the election. Utilize the deep state assets, are showing you what the deep state is. Nope, nobody cares, huh? And how they closely have ties or have some connections to Joe Biden personally? Nope. Oh, nope. I mean, I broke it down for you in the video. I'm sure other people on the internet have broken down as well. But you telling me mainstream media, Fox News, I don't know if One American News probably covered it or not, but all these different so-called conservative news outlets, they ain't do that. I don't think they did that shit. I didn't see none of it. I seen regular people just tweeting out, and people on Gab mention it, and some people on YouTube mention it. But they sat here and just joked about it. You know, like they wrote an article telling us what they did, and Trump is talking about it. So he didn't really say a lot of stuff that, if you were paying attention, once again, if you know, you know. If you have been paying attention, he didn't say nothing new for you. But then I realized his speech wasn't for those conservatives or those independents or libertarians or whoever else. It was for those people who had voted for Biden. It was for those people who were calling themselves Democrats, who were calling themselves liberals, who call themselves that they're on the left. It was for those people, not just the United States, for those people around the world. He has to keep saying this stuff because he once again said it. So I'm sure once I start talking about election, a lot of these media outlets will cut me off. Yet they still do it. It shows you that they're still trying to control the information, control the narrative, even though he's technically not in office, correct? So if the man has no actual power, no influence as far as your legislation, as far as being in your executive branch, what does it matter what he says anymore? You already won. But then again, that's what Trump was saying. Like, don't worry about it. Oh, don't worry about the 2024 election. They already know they lost. And it's like, and he spoke in like past tense. He spoke in present tense as if he was a president. He's talking about the things we got to do moving forward, and we got to get the Republican Senate back, or not Republican Senate, but we got to get a Republican House of Representatives. He was talking about getting different people in there and having a different legislation. He's talking about your Supreme Court justice members and stuff like that. It's like, hold on, man, you're talking a lot, bro. You're talking a lot. Like, you got a plan. Like, you're still there. He was talking as if he was still there. As if he really didn't stop paying attention. As if he didn't go to Mar-a-Lago and just play some golf. He talked as if he's president. And not from an arrogant standpoint. It's from I know. It's like, I know something you don't know, but I can't tell you quite yet. That's what I felt listening to him. Like, yeah. And like I said, he said a lot of the same shit I already knew, but there was a manner in which he said it. Like, I know something you don't know. I just can't tell you yet. But don't worry, you'll see it. In fact, I want you to want me back. And that Jay-Z line, I think, off the Black Album, they never really miss you till you're dead or you're gone, which I think is from the Encore song. It's true. It's true. How many people actually miss Trump who voted for Biden, or who just hated Trump, period? And now they miss him because so much done happened. He talked about how much Joe Biden has flip-flopped as far as immigration, as far as not necessarily immigration, but as far as what's that thing called? As far as the unions, the Keystone Pipeline. As far as that, look how quickly he flipped on that, getting rid of people's jobs. He's like, I told you. He's like, he didn't want to say these things during the debate because he already knew what was going to happen. The funny thing is, it's not like you ain't got to be a mind reader to see this shit. You don't have to be the president of the United States to have the intel. It's right in front of your face. It says Trump called on Biden to reopen schools, so he went hard at Biden. He went hard at Biden and the Biden administration, which I don't even think Biden has had a State of the Union address yet. But Trump damn near basically just gave his State of the Union address. It's almost like we have two presidents. Once again, something that Tory says talk about. You see, I like to reference her a lot because I'm throwing it out there. There's somebody you probably should be listening to who has the full credibility of being inside and understanding how these people work and operate. Yeah, I just got my military experience and some things I know is traveling around the world and stuff and the obvious stuff, but I bring the perspective of just a regular Joe. She brings the perspective of someone that actually knows things and knows a lot. So I highly suggest you can find her. Tori Says News on Twitch, YouTube. She's on iHeartRadio. She's on a bunch of different things. And she's someone I don't listen to her every day, but I try to catch her shows. I do the live stream and I record my show even before the live stream she starts hers at noon. So I've been doing mine before she even goes on and stuff like that anyway. So I usually try to catch it afterwards or while I'm uploading or whatever the case may be, or listen to her later on while I'm doing something else. Let's see. It says Trump called on Biden to reopen schools which closed down during Trump's tenure due to the pandemic, saying that Biden caved to the teachers unions. True. But I mean, I don't like how he called on Biden because that's something he could have did himself as well. You know, he was trying to tell people to open up the schools, but I guess what he's trying to say is trying to have Biden to do the same thing he was doing, advocating to have the governments or these state governments and stuff like that to open up the schools and local districts to open up the schools. Another thing Millie Weaver and Tori Says has been talking about as far as these teachers unions as well. Biden has said his goal is to have the majority of schools open for in-person learning within the first 100 days of administration. What? You mean by the time everybody's out of school? And I told you, he said he might not have the schools open until the summer. You mean when school's out? Oh my God. I know now schools get out at the same time in May, June, July, but I mean, shit. It's, for the most part in America, everybody's around the same schedule. The former president did not save his ire exclusively for his successor. He maintained a false conspiracy that he actually won the 2020 election, and despite picking 3 of his current members, blasted the U.S. Supreme Court for not siding with him, saying the justices should be ashamed. They should be. Yeah, because he picked them, he hoped that they'll do the thing that they're supposed to. But they get in there and they don't do the thing that they're supposed to. We don't know if these people get got or they get brainwashed, not brainwashed, or they get forced into certain things because blackmail or something like that. Who knows? But regardless, they didn't do what they're supposed to do, which is uphold the Constitution. It's not that hard, man. We're not talking about something that's so hard to understand and so hard to do, or something that's only super incredibly smart people can do. No, we're not talking about that shit, bro. We're not talking about that shit. We're talking about something simple. Uphold, be a good, decent person. And that means under pressure as well. She said he would not start a third party. He called for unity in the Republican Party. It says he teased that he could be running. He could run again in 2024. He said, yeah, I could run for a third time, but who knows? Who knows? Interesting. Because once again, that he could run for a third time. Who knows? But would that be another term? Could he already be in office now? What actually says that he's not in office? Because if everything is illegitimate, which is if everything literally is illegitimate, we literally have an illegitimate person in the White House. If he actually isn't even in the White House, you don't know what's actually going on. There's a lot of weird things about all this. Because I don't even think most people even think that Biden is a president. And I'm not even talking about those that vote for Trump. I'm talking about those that did vote for Trump. Because if those that didn't vote for Trump and didn't necessarily vote for Biden either, and they see that the election they knew the election was rigged and stolen stuff, the president basically is whoever we the people say is the president. Because at this point in time, it doesn't matter because the laws have been thrown out the fucking window. Right? They literally, if you don't think they stole the election, read the Time magazine article. Check out my podcast. I think it's episode 80 something. It should have came out in January when I did the episode. Watch the episode of my podcast. Or listen to it, rather. I didn't do the video recording yet. So listen to it. Oh, no, I did. I did do it. Yeah, I did. I showed the article. You see how my brain is. Fucking Mondays, right? Case of the Monday. Oh, shit. Actually, every day for me, really. But yeah, look at the video recording I did of that. It's on my YouTube. Should be on Odyssey as well. If not, it's definitely on my YouTube. It's right there, man. They showed you exactly what they did. Trump lost the election. Trump lost the 2020 electoral college vote and the popular vote by 7 million overall. Dozens of courts throughout his and his allies' frivolous claims of election fraud in multiple states, and his own administration called 2020 the quote-unquote most secure election in history. This is National Public Radio. This is why I read these articles from these mainstream media outlets, to let you know how much these people do not care about America. They don't care about our country. They lie, and they all get paid off. So they don't care. They care about lining their own pockets. That's it. They don't care if the country turns socialist because they're already in a position where they don't have to worry about it. They don't care about limited private property because their property will be the one that is not limited. Limited private property will apply to us regular people. And they don't care about a push towards communism because, once again, they're already secure in their social elite status. Even though they'd probably be, like Yuri Bezmenov said, they'd probably be lined up and shot too. Who knows? Who knows? At this point in time, I don't put anything out of, I'm not going to put anything out of reach. Like, nothing seems too far-fetched now. I mean, once again, they cloning animals for commercial purposes like it's just another day at the office. So, I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore. I'm just a regular person kind of out here trying to figure out what is going on. You can tell they did not like this shit, man. They get so mad at him. Imagine being so mad at a former president that has no power. Right? He has no executive powers. He has no legislation powers. He has no actual political power, supposedly. Right? Yeah, they're mad at him. Oh, he keeps talking about he won the election. Well, yeah. If you know that you've been cheated and you know that people lied to get you out of office, why would you ever fucking stop talking about it? I mean, we're not talking about someone cheating on their spouse. We're talking about something that affect the whole nation. So it's not even about him. It's about people like me who voted for him. He better not shut up. They keep saying it over and over and over to the point where everybody gets so pissed off, so sick that they have no choice but to look into it. And when I say look into it, not go straight to those mainstream media sources, but look on the right side, your liberals, your conservative side, rather. Look on that side. Find the independent. Look up stuff. Dig for yourself. Find the information. So that's what the first thing I would do is like, oh, well, these people keep saying that election is stolen and rigged. Let me see what they're talking about. Let me see what they're talking about and let me disprove it. Because I guarantee you cannot look into the election process and everything that happened and really honestly think that it was a free and fair election. There's no way on earth. There's no way on earth. I promise you. I promise you that. There's no way. There's no way you can look at these elections and think, oh, yeah, you know what? That's exactly what's going on right now. The election is good. Nope. I promise you. You look into it, just the simple fact that voter registration, voter signatures, voter ID laws. The fact that they weren't trying to verify voter identification, kind of suspicious, right? The mail-in balloting thing, kind of suspicious, right? The suitcase ballots, the ballots full of the suitcases full of ballots in Georgia, kind of suspicious, right? And so if it's a completely secure and free, fair election, there should be no suspicious activity whatsoever. But there's so much suspicious activity that it's not even a coincidence. It's by design. It says both made speeches, blah blah. Okay, whatever. It's talking about the overall what most people liked over at the speech and stuff, over at CPAC, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? We're gonna look at Donald. I spelled that all wrong. DonaldJTrump.com. I'm gonna say, who makes a website with their own name? Narcissistic people like me and Trump. Become a contributing member. Yeah, not right now, guy. But he talked about having this website up. Save America, President Donald J. Trump. Together we are rebuilding our nation. It's about contributing. So if you want to donate, you donate directly to him as opposed to using any other thing and whatnot in the manner in which you donate. It says on November 8th, 2016, the American people delivered a historic victory and took our country back. This victory was a result of a movement to put America first, to save the American economy, and to make America once again a shining blah, 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 blah. I want to know what this is about, though. What this website is all about. Over the past 4 years, my administration... You know what? Yeah, we're going to read this because I wanted you to notice the present tense in which he talks sometimes. And once again, you can call him narcissistic and stuff like that, but if you know, you know. If I was him and I knew that the election was stolen, I have all the evidence and everything in the world, I know I would sound cocky as shit to everybody. But also, I know what I know. So it's almost like, oh, I know what's going on. You just don't know yet. Don't worry about it. One day you will. But I'm going to show you first what the fuck is going on. Let's see. It says, over the past 4 years, my administration delivered for Americans of all backgrounds like never before. Save America is about building on those accomplishments. It's almost like a second term he's talking about. Building on those accomplishments, supporting the brave conservatives who will define the future of the America First movement, the future of our party, and the future of our beloved country. So you kind of get a sense that he's talking in a manner of which finding more conservatives and stuff like that who want to help out the country and whatnot. I don't like the word conservative, but clearly the word conservative and Republican is literally being redefined in front of our face. Or then again, it maybe it's going back to its original meaning from the beginning. Conservative, Republican could have always been libertarian at the same time. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know much about the history of the parties and stuff like that, but I mean, really, at this point, you can call a banana an orange, and after a while, people will say, "Yeah, that's a banana." We can change names whenever we feel like it, and the definitions of names whenever we feel like it. Save America is also about ensuring that we always keep America first in our foreign and domestic policy. We take pride in our country. We teach the truth about our history. We celebrate our rich heritage and national traditions. And of course, we respect our great American flag, which is literally almost word for word what he said last night towards the end of that paragraph. We are committed to defending innocent life and to upholding the Judeo-Christian values of our founding, which basically are, to be honest with you. And you can be mad about that, but we're talking about two of the major religions, and you can throw Islam in there too because they're all going off the prophet of Moses, rather. They're all going off the God of Abraham as well. So it's all the same deity, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Kind of makes sense, right? Chill out. Says we believe in the promise of the Declaration of Independence. We know that our rights do not come from government; they come from God, and no earthly force can ever take those rights away. That includes the right to religious liberty and the right to keep and bear arms. You see, I agree with that. Your Judeo-Christian values, okay, I'm kind of loosely agreeing with it, but I definitely agree my rights come from God, our supreme being, the overall conscious one being that we are attached to and we come from. At least that's my own spirituality, not a religious doctrine. That's my own spirituality, my own spiritual belief, but kind of lines up with the same thing, right? It says we believe in rebuilding our previously depleted military. This is what he was talking about in his speech last night, which is wild because it sounds like a State of the Union address, right? It sounds like, hey, this is what we're doing moving forward. Because this is what we did in the past administration, or the past 4 years, and this is where we're going to continue moving forward. He's talking as if he has power. And you can call him crazy, but you have to wonder, why would he feel that way? And you can say, oh, he's super narcissistic. Yeah, but once again, he was sitting president. What does he know that the rest of us don't? You have to literally ask yourself that question. Like, Seriously. What does he know that the rest of us don't? What does he know that Joe Biden doesn't know? He talked about Joe Biden, say he doesn't. When he came into the office, there was no vaccines, there was no vaccination, there was no plan, no strategy. And he's like, hey, that's funny, Joe, because I remember in December, 20th December, something like that, you got vaccinated. I'm like, I remember that too. Him, Fauci, they all thought, well, there's no plan, yet they're the first ones to get vaccinated. Because they want to show that they can get the vaccines and show everyone else, oh, yeah, look, you guys get the vaccine as well. Interesting, right? Just a little interesting. Also understand too that people have short-term memories, man. So Trump really does have to get up there and say it every chance he gets, because the media is cutting him out. The mainstream media is not paying him any attention. Or, well, they are paying him attention. They're paying him enough attention to make sure that they edit out his video, his clips and the clips and things that he said, and they make sure that they only take small excerpt quotes and stuff, whatever. Never give you a full paragraph quotation. You never get that full paragraph quote. No. You only just get a little bit, just know. We know the rule of law is the ultimate safeguard of our freedoms. And then we affirm that a constitution means exactly what it says as written. We support fair trade, low taxes, and fewer job-killing regulations. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's really odd. The whole thing is super odd, man. Because you just get the feeling like, why is he talking like he's the president? And you say, oh, he refuses to accept that he lost the presidency. But it's like, but he didn't. I know he didn't. You know he didn't. If you're paying attention, you know he didn't. It's just the manner in which he says it, I don't know, it's weird. And obviously, some might think I'm alluding to, the whole March 4th thing and stuff like that, the inauguration initial on March 4th, stuff like that. Nah, I'm not even alluding to none of that. It's just he speaks to it in such a manner of confidence. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you should have that confidence because he was just in the White House and he had all the information. That's why I have to keep reminding myself, like, this guy had all the information. He was the actual sitting president in January, like a little over a month ago. And I want to show you guys this because I was watching something and I forgot about it, and it kind of makes me think about it too, but I don't know if I brought it up. You have the Presidential Transition Enhancement Act of 2019. Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican from Wisconsin, introduced. You gotta be shitting me. Introduced February 7th of 2019. And the latest action, March 3rd, 2020, became public law. So this is a law. This is a law that you probably never heard of. I heard about it before. I didn't look into it too much. I loosely looked into it, but I didn't want to talk about it until, well, now. Short, sweet, simple. It says this bill makes changes intended to smooth the transfer of executive power during presidential transitions. The bill provides for the detailing of legislative branch employees on reimbursable basis to the office staff designated by the president-elect or vice president-elect with the consent of the supervising member of Congress. The bill extends support provided by the General Services Administration, GSA, and that was something with the GSA was going on, and towards the end of November, December timeframe, where they were hesitant on doing the transition of power and giving a meeting to the so-called Biden-Harris administration. But it says the bill extends support provided to the GSA, the General Service Administration, to the president and vice president-elect for up to 60 days after inauguration. So what is that? March 20th, March 19th, wherever the date is, or actually probably March 21st, March 28th, or 22nd, somewhere around there, because there's only 28 days in February. So has a full transition of power actually happened? I'm speculating here. Clearly, I'm speculating. So don't get pissed off at me. You can say I'm throwing out a wild theory, but I'm just really asking a question. That's literally what I'm doing. Like, because I don't understand what is the purpose of this. It says by September 1st of a year during which a presidential election occurs, the General Service Administration shall enter into a memorandum of understanding with each eligible candidate. So by September 1st of a year during which a presidential election occurs. So by September 1st of last year, because that's the year in which a presidential election happened, the GSA shall enter into a memorandum of understanding with each eligible candidate, which shall include the conditions for administrative support services and facilities to the maximum extent practicable. And memorandum of understanding shall be based on MOUs relating to previous presidential transitions. Each MOU shall include an agreement that the eligible candidate will implement and enforce an ethics plan to guide the conduct of the transition beginning on the date on which such candidate becomes president-elect. So that means the Biden administration of Biden and Kamala Harris would have known about this September 1st of last year? Huh. That's interesting. The plan shall be published on the GSA website by September 15th of a year during which a presidential election occurs. Each agency shall ensure that a succession plan is in place for each senior non-position or non-career position in the agency. So obviously, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with anything. I have, like I said, I show you guys these things, and I talk openly and candid and honestly about things that, you know, I'm learning myself, and I don't know everything. I'm just a person. I'm just talking, sharing my opinion. I'm just sharing information. But this is interesting to me because it's one of those another government vague things where if you don't know exactly what falls into this category which is talking about, unless you do some own research. And another thing, I'm gonna do some research offline. Hopefully I don't forget and or don't get too caught up in something else and my distraction gets taken away. But this is very interesting as far as its implications, because you can kind of argue like, why the fuck do you even have it? Is it really that necessary? Because you didn't need it at all beforehand. And once again, if Trump saw this stuff happening and say he thought he was going to lose, you don't think he'll have a plan to make sure that he can find a way back in to get the White House? If he's so narcissistic enough to think that he didn't lose and the election is going to be stolen from him, you don't think that he'll have a plan in place to make sure that he can get the White House back? Even if you think he's a tyrant and a dictator, you don't think he has a plan to get to at least steal the White House back, quote unquote, steal? It don't even matter which perspective which you want to take. You don't think he has a plan to try to take it back? If they think that, oh, he just won't give it up, so he's just going to keep saying the same thing over and over. Nah, he's going to say the same stuff over and over, but he's going to have a plan. And that's why during the speech yesterday, it just felt like he was talking more or less like bragging. I felt like he was bragging, like, oh, look, told you guys this is what Biden was going to do. Nobody want to believe me, but look at y'all. Look at everybody now. I told you so. And almost in a sense, he was like, I got a plan. Don't worry about it. You don't know it, but don't worry about it. And he's telling us what we're going to be doing moving forward. But it's like, bro, you're not the president. What are you telling us what we're going to be doing moving forward? Why are you taking charge of the Republican Party like you are the Republican Party? Like, why are you doing all these different things? What do you know that we don't? And that's how I felt listening to that yesterday. What does he know that we don't? Because once again, you can say wherever you want about him, understand the realization of the issue. He was the he was the sitting president for 4 years. He wasn't the acting president, which I was trying to say. He wasn't the acting president. He was a legitimate, legal, sitting president for 4 years. They tried to impeach and remove him, and they couldn't. And he had access to all information. He started the Space Force. He started the Quantum Initiative Act. quantum computers. We talked about that. What information does he have that the rest of us don't know? And that's what it comes down to. And that's what the mainstream media will not talk about, will not say, will not bring up. They've been downplaying him, acting like he's a fool and he doesn't know what he's doing and all the other stuff. Yet, for some reason, I don't know, the country didn't implode in those past 4 years. Wasn't no wars, troops being brought home, the drawdowns in Afghanistan and stuff. You can talk about all you want to, but they read up a plan. They drew down some troops. And all of a sudden now, the Biden administration has an attack on Iran, Iran-backed militia in Syria. Here we go again, fucking with Syria, because we got to take over that place. We got to go after Assad. We got to do these things, which Obama tried to do in like 2013, which is also one of the many reasons why I didn't like him. Pay attention, man. And there's something so much bigger on going here at play, and it's right in front of our eyes. We just got to keep collecting information, trying to figure it out. Because if you want to know the truth, no one's going to tell you. Or at least not blatantly that tell you, because they're not going to tell you everything. You're going to have to dig and find. And when he spoke yesterday, that's why I felt like, God damn it, like, why are you being cryptic again, bro? Here we go again, you're being cryptic. And some people might be like, oh, well, that's QAnon, that's conspiracies and stuff like that. You kiss my ass with all that shit, man. There's something going on here that you have no idea about whatsoever. And to say that it's QAnon and conspiracy theories, that's dismissing information. That's turning a blind eye. That's putting your hand in the sand and saying, nah, I'm just going to ignore it all. Because you want to be rocked at your core that you could be wrong about something. You want to be, not even that, you don't want to be rocked at your core to know that you've been lied to and played. Because we all want to believe that, oh, we're smart enough to know if someone's lying to us. Guess what? When people lie, they lie and they appeal to your emotions, not your rational brain. Because I can't logically make you believe a lie because lies don't make sense. The majority of the time, lies do not make sense. And the best lies are half true. And if you pay close enough attention to it, you'll see that that half true is exactly what it is, a half true. You can't put your head in the sand and say, oh, no, these are conspiracy theories. These don't, he's just lying. Because if that's the case, prove him wrong. And not just pull up a mainstream media article like NPR and all the other bullshit people that get paid to write these articles and stuff. Look on the conservative side. Look at that article. Look at the information and see if you can dismiss that. Because that's how you argue something. You take the opposing view, the opposing side, their information, their facts, and then you disprove it. But you notice when they try to disprove Trump's claims, all they say is stupid shit. Like, oh, this, we had an independent study that nobody found anything wrong. And it's like, okay, it's like, oh, in the article it said, oh, yeah, the Supreme Court threw out all the cases. Did they? Because there was a lot of cases, and Trump said he only had 3 cases. Have they even seen all 3 of his cases? I don't even know yet. I don't even think so. There's so many little things and stuff that there's like, oh yeah, no, that's false. Oh, he made that up. It's a false claim. That's a baseless claim. Is it? Because let me look into their claim. Let me look at it from their point of view. You cannot look at it from the Trump supporter, Trump side, conservative, Republican side, whatever the case may be, wherever the word you want to use. Look at it from their point of view and see if you can see what they're talking about and then disprove it. Or will you get caught up in, oh shit, why some of this makes sense? I challenge anybody to go out there and try to prove it wrong. And use something other than your mainstream articles. Because even Associated Press, Reuters, they claim to be independent, but they're not. They're not. Find it. Because when you look into the voting and different things like that, you're going to be like, oh my God, that doesn't seem, why would you not want to make sure you identify the people voting? Hell, Jenny Carano talked about it in her interview. That she was like, hey, this is kind of odd to me that I go to vote, I have a mask on, no one asks for my ID, no one asks me to even pull down my mask so they can verify I am who I am. Kind of suspicious. Oh my God, are you serious? Are you serious? It's kind of suspicious, huh? Exactly. Jenny Carano was a perfect person It showed what regular people are. Because she wasn't a politician, she didn't know much about it and stuff. She said, but she saw stuff going on when they did a shutdown as far as COVID-19. She know what it's like not to have a job and stuff, to go months or a long time without work, because the field that she in, even fighting and being an actor and stuff, like you go a while without having work and stuff, and you kind of left and not know what to do, and you get into a depressed state. So she knows what that means, and that's what she talked about. And then she saw a lot of stuff going on, and she just had some questions. Oh my God. What happens when you're curious? They don't want you to be curious. That's why you read the articles like NPR and say, oh, it's a baseless claim. It's already been disproven. Says who? You? Why can't I figure that out on my own? I challenge any one of y'all to be curious about the election, all this information, everything in the world, everything we ever learned, everything. Question it. Question it, because you might find out something that you just wasn't really expecting to find out. So on that note, the show will be back on tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't think I'm doing a show Wednesday. I have a medical appointment Wednesday, right? Yeah, that's the 3rd. Yeah, so I won't be doing a show Wednesday. I might do some videos throughout the week, depending on different information or different topics that come out in the news that I feel like talking about. You can always go to my website, DamienJackson22.com, and you see all my social media links and my podcast links. Check me out on YouTube and Odyssey. I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll upload the audio and visual version of the podcast after the live stream. Stop by the live stream if you choose to. If not, don't worry about it. No big deal. Just check it out later on YouTube, Odyssey, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else the podcast is at and whatnot. I always send out a tweet and gab and put up on my website too when I'll be starting a live stream. But check it out whenever you feel like it. Do your research. Don't take my word for anything. You're smart. You're incredible. All that good shit I like to say. Stay positive. Have a great day. Have a great week. So until next time.